Hey there, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fans! Welcome back! We are finally back after a long November without Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Tonight we are talking about Season 4, Episode 3, Deals with Our Devils. Lots to talk about tonight. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin!
Forget what I said. It's Season 4, Episode 7. I apparently can't even read my own writing or count. Either of those things. How are you guys all doing tonight?
Doing pretty good.
I'm very nervous to be on this panel tonight because I've been watching you guys and you guys are all experts and I'm just some guy that likes the show. You know what I'm saying? So you guys are like all up in it and you're like, yeah, well, Ghost Rider, you know, we knew Johnny Blaze because he had 4 spikes and it's like, I'm like, oh no.
Now. Johnny Blaze didn't have any spikes.
Oh my gosh, see? That was a trick question.
I didn't want to say it. I was going to be welcoming.
Yeah.
Did you get a birthday gift from
No, I didn't get any birthday gifts. It was my birthday week.
Oh, because Zach got a birthday gift.
Jesse's back.
Yeah, hey everyone.
We miss Jesse.
Hi, it's good to be
I was
back.
going to say, yeah, let's go ahead and introduce my fantastic panel. Jesse Klein to my left.
Hi everyone, I'm Jesse Klein. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at JessKlein1. I'm back. I'm without any birthday gifts.
Special gifts. I mean, I'm sure you got some gifts, but not the special
no
gifts.
special gifts.
That Zach got. Zach walked away with like an exclusive. My name's Tehran. Find me at I am Tehran across the social media sphere. And I'd just like to say, for all the people, because I read the comments, you guys are all experts too. I am not. Okay, and I'm waiting for the chance to use my obscure Marvel Universe information and just one of these random things that I'll throw out. You know.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping I can just do that. Other than that, I'm pretty much useless. That's my mutant
You'll
power.
throw out an obscure fact, and
Exactly.
then like everyone, then just be quiet for the rest of the
That's
panel.
how
I'm an expert.
drops mic, and I might actually leave right after that. So.
Zach
Hey
Wilson.
guys, Zach Wilson here. You may also know me as the voice of Doom, and I am so excited that S.H.I.E.L.D. is back.
Woo!
Yeah.
And I'm Megan Salinas. You guys can tweet at me at the Menguin. That's TheMenguin. We are also going to be following along with the hashtag ABTVMarvel, as well as keeping an eye on the live chat because we love hearing and seeing what you lovely folks have to say.
Hey, live chat.
Hey,
and
how you doing?
And
Whoa!
And,
Megan.
welcome Tehran to the panel.
Yeah, welcome
Yeah.
to joining us,
Yes.
guys.
Thank you so
Hi.
much for joining us
Thank
tonight.
you guys for having me. I had to fill out a questionnaire. I'm here. Let's just see how this goes.
We did. We vetted the people who were interested
Yeah.
in filling in on S.H.I.E.L.D.
That's true.
Exactly. So yeah, we should say that Joyce, sadly for the foreseeable future, won't be able to join us. That might change. You know, her schedule could change, but right now things are crazy.
And then I'll get booted. That was a nice way of saying as soon as Joyce is back, bye.
No, the thing
I get
is
it.
you've stepped up. We were down an agent, and you stepped up, Tehran.
Here's the thing.
I feel that made me
I
feel
wasn't
special.
originally on this panel. Jesse
Neither
wasn't
was I.
originally on this panel. Megan's the only one who's made it.
Actually,
OG.
I wasn't even originally on this panel. The original 4 people, none of them are here anymore.
Which is
in terms
interesting.
of this panel.
That's crazy because if Marvel makes a movie about us, we will just become the original 4. That's what Marvel movies do.
Yeah, exactly.
They'll just use whoever the coolest 4, and that's us.
Until they reboot it to
original-
create the new universe. Exactly.
The original Guardians of the Galaxy. Just don't talk about the original.
Don't talk
Don't
about
talk about the original. It's just
I'm
us.
pretty sure there was a guy with a mohawk.
What happened to that guy? He had a T on his chest.
He's there.
What happened to the raccoon?
What about
right.
Weird
All
Captain
right.
America?
Let's
Hilarious.
talk
Host has wandered off the
about
subject.
tonight's. Yeah, we don't want to get the off-topic button, as we are wont to do every now and then. So let us talk about tonight's episode because it has been a long time since I have gotten to geek out about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And guys, this was a hell of an episode to come back on. No pun intended.
No pun intended. I was
No
about to say.
one make any comments about that. But
Well
I
done,
want to
Megan.
know.
Well done.
I want to know, how does it feel, guys, after having watched this episode? How does it feel to be back?
I am burning with excitement. I think that this episode was fantastic. It was cool to see like the little nods to Doctor Strange that we'll get into, but all of us, while we were watching it live, freaked out a little bit. I literally, I took a car door off. I was so excited. I ripped it off. Yeah, I'm really excited to just be back and talking about S.H.I.E.L.D.
I get that. No, I wonder if this episode had a Ghost Rider because Pun? Nothing.
No, I got
I
it.
get nothing?
I
Hell of
got
an
it.
episode?
Get out!
Ghost Rider?
I
like
just
one
like I
shot.
want to open a portal.
Oh, okay. I see how this is.
This episode just slinged its way right into my heart.
That was
I'm reaching.
yeah. That was reaching.
No, but this I think was a great way to get us back in. It is weird to think about. This is the first episode since Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Like it's been a while, but like we have to also remember that.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that of course this is the one where it's going to have Doctor Strange-ish elements.
So we should probably go ahead and say right now, in the course of our discussion, we are going to be talking about mild Doctor Strange spoilers. We will refrain from spoiling the entire plot, but if you haven't had the chance to watch it over the Thanksgiving break, just be wary. We are going to be discussing it at some point. We know that you guys absolutely hate when we talk about spoilers without giving a spoiler warning. So here is your warning. If you
I
don't want to know
can't believe
anything.
Doctor Strange died at the end of
Oh
that
my
movie. Crazy.
God,
So anyway,
right?
yeah, I can't
Right?
believe that.
And he's
That was-
never coming back in a Marvel movie.
Exactly.
Certainly won't be having any adventures with anyone anytime soon.
Nope.
What do you say we race to start talking about this episode?
You want to talk about go for it.
The episode?
Yeah, you said you race. I assumed
he
you
was
were
trying to slip in a pun.
Can I ask some questions? Because you
I
guys are
assumed you
the
were talking
experts.
about May driving the car, but go ahead.
Well, when Phil was being pulled into the darkness, right?
Yeah.
What was pulling him and not anyone else?
Okay, so here's where we're talking about Doctor Strange spoilers.
Yeah.
Because we see that the plot of most of this episode, which is kind of interesting the way they chose to film it, because it was kind of like, it kind of reminded me of watching a clip show where you would see a scene and then you would see the scene
Commentary.
again.
It was
Character
commentary. It was like their own after show.
I
much.
actually really loved this. I don't think it's the mirror dimension.
No.
But it is a dimension that is adjacent to ours in some
Yeah,
way.
it's still in an alternate like spectrum of like light waves and all that.
Yeah, I like how they explained it.
How to
Because
fade.
things were darker and like sound wasn't going through as easily.
But it's not the dark dimension either. That's a whole separate thing.
It's not the dark
Although,
dimension.
It's
Dark
entirely
mirror?
It's entirely possible.
The Black Mirror
Black
dimension.
I was
Mirror.
gonna say, yeah. It is entirely possible that the darkness that was trying to consume him was the dark
Exactly.
dimension.
That's what I wanted to know. Is it actually the dark dimension? And if it is, how does this play? Because that's a much bigger plot than
Yeah.
I was
Well-
ready for.
And the thing is that Ghost Rider, the Ghost Rider in this particular in this episode, referred to it as, I know, what's kind of pulling you in.
Yeah.
I've escaped from it. I'm never going back. And because we're kind of dealing with magic Marvel, but also, I mean, there are ties to Dormammu for Ghost Rider, right?
Yes.
So it's entirely possible that it was making an overt reference to the Dark Dimension and to Dormammu and the events of Doctor Strange.
I don't think that was the I don't think it was saying the Dark Dimension. That's a little too strong of a connection. I still think we're leading up to what's the
Mephisto.
Mephisto. What
Mephisto.
realm does Mephisto
Hell.
live in? It's just
It's just
but
hell.
it is just
hell.
hell. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if it has like another name, but I think that's where
I
he
mean,
was
they
being
say
pulled
when
down
Mac
to.
says when they say like where'd Robbie go, Mac says like, oh, he went to hell.
But
Like so.
I mean, that's what the way Mac talks about this sort of thing.
And
like,
Mac also like talks about like the Christian
Yeah.
versions of these things, and his belief in them.
Yeah, am I remembering it incorrectly? But was the big MacGuffin of season 2 of Agent Carter, wasn't it like
It was the Dark Force.
the Dark Force, which they described as being another dimension?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well,
It does. This is the Dark Force always had that liquidy
Yeah.
texture to it, whereas
This had like a-
this was crystals,
portal
but it
or
is the same like color. So and they did talk about the Dark Force.
Yeah.
and, like that Eli and all those guys were studying the Dark Force.
Yeah.
So it could be that this is just the next level of it.
Yeah, and I mean, again, we're dealing with the Darkhold, which is Magic Book of Evil, which we'll talk about that in a minute because there was an amazing scene with it.
At the end.
But yeah, it was so great. But we're also, because we're dealing with a lot of the magic side of stuff. Like at one point, they're even talking about how the box itself pulls its power from other dimensions.
Yeah.
Which is how all of these sorcerers in Doctor Strange harness their power.
Yeah.
And the fact that Ada was able to create her own magical shield transport, dimensional portal without a soul or a sling ring or
Yeah.
Or a
anything.
sling ring. That was
Yeah.
a big deal. Like she did kind of pull. It looked like string, like string theory type stuff because she
Yeah.
was just like pulling it, and
Well-
I didn't think she would be able to because she was an android.
Yeah. This is. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Zach.
Well, it looked like, I mean, to me, like Doctor Strange, like it all comes down to very specific hand motions and like energy that you're putting out. And, like she can still do like the mechanics of all of the all that stuff. Because I just read the Doctor Strange, Doctor Doom team up book.
Okay.
And Doctor Doom like uses uses mechanical pieces in his
Yeah.
armor and his own like stuff that can read what Doctor Strange is doing to just map in like what exactly the hand motions need to
he
be to
mimics it.
cast spells. And I think that's basically what the Dark Hold showed Ada.
Yeah.
In ones and zero.
Yes. Oh, that was like it
That was
shows you the language that you read in.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Which is interesting because it read her as an intelligent being that would be able to understand it. It didn't just scan. I don't know if the Darkhold had the capability of like scanning a laptop or something that would try to analyze it, but the fact that she was able to see, perceive, and understand, that says a lot.
Did it read her as a sentient being? And if so, because at the end we see, and I'm sure we're going to get there too, but she's doing stuff on her own. So did the Darkhold read her as a sentient being?
I think that's kind of the assumption we've got to make.
Or sorry.
Because like it wouldn't. If you remember when the Boo crew were trying to read the Darkhold when they were ghosts, like it wouldn't appear to them. Like it
No,
wouldn't.
the words evaporated.
Yeah, they disappeared. So I think the Darkhold has to have some sort of way to read whether something like has a soul.
A soul or just something to corrupt in a way.
Yeah.
That's true.
Because to me, I like my immediate concern when Ada was going to open it at all, and
Same
I think
here,
what we got was, is this how she gets pushed from a computerized like automaton to an artificial intelligence who actually thinks and feels and can create
Well-
and act on her
Zach,
own?
are you implying that we might have a robo demon situation?
Yes, that is exactly what I'm
Would it be
implying.
beyond the moons of
I
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
literally wrote down Robo Dark Phoenix. Like that's what we could
Or
potentially.
Let's not call her Robo Dark Phoenix. Let's
Oh yeah,
fly
we're not
away
allowed to
from
use
that.
the M word here.
Thank you. Okay. let's just-
But more so, I like my thought was that this is where you get like the ghost in the machine, like
Yeah.
that one thing that like triggers it and pushes it over the edge into actual intelligent.
Robo demon.
Yeah.
Well, they kept reiterating how Ada was an android this time.
Yeah.
And it's something they hadn't been reiterating before, right?
Yeah.
So is that like a foreshadow of something to come? Like, was she more than an android and we just didn't know?
What? I mean, go ahead.
I mean, I don't know. I think if she was more than an android, I don't think anyone knew. Like, I don't think even like any of her creators knew what she was capable of.
Yeah, we have a comment on Twitter. So why did we pour magic into a robot? Because why wouldn't we?
Yeah, hilarious.
I almost wish that they had thought to say like, okay, well, let's back her up now before we introduce her to this dark magic thing. She can learn it. Then we like erase the hard drive and put in the old.
So wait,
take it out and analyze
now
it.
That she's been conceivably corrupt or allegedly corrupted by the Darkhold. If we were to back her up now, would that mean the Darkhold got backed up to the cloud and then be able to corrupt all those servers?
Well, this is the question.
Beyond our scope. This is now we've gone out of the. Now it's not even within the worlds of Marvel.
again.
Yeah,
That's the worst iOS update you'll ever get.
hilarious.
The Darkhold is not Ultron, but this is a big question about the Darkhold. Is it a reactionary book that is just has magical properties, or is it a thinking piece of like magic? Does it have desires? Is it
saw
trying
an opportunity
to
with her
does
and
the
decided
book,
to like.
Yeah, does the book have a goal?
And it might have a goal because the way the Darkhold, I feel like, okay, so let's go jump off topic a little. Lord of the Rings, where the ring pulls you in. The Darkhold book, everybody's out of almost every single episode, someone just wants to open up the Darkhold. Like, hey, oh my gosh, where's coffee? Darkhold. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, is it drawing people to it in order to infect its magical
I was really
powers?
concerned about May this episode for that very reason, because she was the one that had been physically affected
in the past
by it. And to the fact that she was the first one to go, this is the thing that can, potentially help us solve this puzzle.
Out of nowhere, and there were no context clues or anything for her to think that. She just got a feeling and then went automatically to Darkhold and was a little too adamant about it as well.
And I know that we're kind of very much entrenched in the magical side of things, but do any of you guys watch the Film Theory channel on YouTube? They right before Doctor Strange came out, they did a video about the magic in Doctor Strange actually being quantum science, with the way the glyphs look and everything like that. It's a good video. I highly recommend you guys go check it out when you're done with this episode, of course.
Really clicking off right now. What? You can do Doctor Strange magic? All you gotta do is watch this video. Click.
Not quite. But it's talking about quantum mechanics and the fact that even when they're in a separate dimension, technology seems to pick up on their cries for help, on their instructions. The fact that Ada can hear them, and the fact that the hell charger, even though it's just a normal charger,
Left blinker, yeah.
Left blinker turned on.
Turn left.
I love this car. The fact that technology responds to it, I feel like it's an interesting idea that all of this energy is still, even though it's magic, is still very much drenched in the science side of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Marvel. And apparently, if you look in the credits for Doctor Strange, they consulted astrophysicists and quantum physicists in order to assist with the way they made the world.
Oh, that's
so
cool.
yeah, it's kind of film trivia bit, but anyway.
They never asked me, so I'm actually a little offended by them.
You're like, well, Marvel, good day to you, I say.
Good day to you.
Good day, sir.
So when it comes to the Darkhold, right? And we're saying, because the machines did react to, there's subtle hints. And we see Ada listening when, who was it, Fitz started yelling?
Yeah, because he was
Ada,
like,
do this.
read the book, you're a robot, do it.
And we also see Robbie able to hit his hand on the dashboard and the blinker turns on.
Yeah.
So are we, first of all, since they're in this phase dimension and they can pass through people and everything, and walls and all these things, how come they're just not falling through the earth?
I was wondering that when he's in the car.
He's sitting in the car. Like, why is he not falling there?
Like,
Like,
is he not,
struggling.
phasing through?
Yeah.
Do they show them ever phase through walls or anything?
They only show them
that's how
phasing through people.
How did he get into the car?
I think-
I thought he just kind of materialized inside, like he walked in.
He just like, as soon as she opened the door, he's like, whoop.
Yeah.
He just jumped in. It's entirely possible that, because I wondered the same thing when during the Doctor Strange Astro form fight. I'm like, why aren't they just completely falling through the floor? How do you have any sort of handhold? It could very well be that the dimension that they're in, there's still structure to it, and because they're in it, they can they can feel those structures, but they just can't interact with the people who are there.
I always think of it as like, things are only real because you feel like when you're in these dimensions, like things are only real because you expect them to act like real things. So like when Robbie was in that car, he didn't realize it, but he was like, oh, I want to be in that car with her, and just appeared in there.
He was willing himself
Yeah.
to be in the car.
And that, like, if you stopped and thought about it for too long, you would slip into the earth or, like, start phasing through things. But because they were so busy, like, going after stuff, that they didn't have enough time to actually let the world kind of dissolve around them.
Interesting. I hope one of those astrophysicists that Marvel consulted can
Yeah.
tell us the actual answer, because all these are good like theories, but we really don't know why when he hit the dashboard the blinker turned on.
Yeah.
Because the car is no longer the Hell car, simply because he's not the Ghost Rider.
Oh, that was so heartbreaking too. Like, no! And she's like, self-healing car, it'll be fine. He's
Oh
like,
yeah,
no!
and it kept scratching up. It kept scratching up the door. She like ruined that car.
Yeah.
Which does nothing for women and or Asian drivers. I felt like that was a thing. We can talk about it. I can talk about these things. So yeah,
Hey, she was pulling crazy moves on that.
she did the little spin thing and hit the guy. Which
Yeah.
was really cool.
Killed the guy with it.
Kill the guy with that car.
Kill a guy with the car. I mean, but it's just interesting because why do magic and technology go hand in hand in the Marvel universe?
Well, in Thor, we got that kind of tutorial where magic in the Marvel universe is technology. It's just so advanced that we can't recognize it. And I think, in this other world, if there's light still coming from our universe, if there's still sound coming through our universe, you can guess that there's at least some sort of like electron contact still, and like waves and particles still interact between the universe. So at least there's some sort of interaction. So like Robbie being able to do it with the charger, Ada being able to listen, there's some sort of interaction still. I don't know like the direct physics of it, but like waves and particles still interact.
Yeah, and beyond that, just I think there's a certain amount of Ada is a machine, so she's gonna pick up on whatever's there. But the human mind, when it hears something that it's like either doesn't want to hear or doesn't believe it's hearing, it shuts it off.
Interesting.
So like it may have heard like this faint like Fitz like yelling something, but because of the people in that room are like Fitz isn't here, they just think they're hearing it because they know that Fitz is missing.
Is that where May gets her intuition about them still being alive, possibly? Because Phil was pleading to May.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of that, like just enough. It's like in the back of her brain, like just tapping at her, like
Not-
cerebellum.
And at the end of the day, like it's a narrative construct that's like in a lot of stuff. Like if you've seen like things with ghosts in it, or
like the movie Ghost.
yeah, like the movie Ghost.
The movie goes.
Yeah, but like usually like ghosts or like other things in other dimensions like interact with electricity for the most part. Like even the Netflix series, the 80s, the Underworld. You did the Zach, you know what I'm talking about. And you're letting me hang out here.
I actually
Stranger Things?
Stranger Things.
Stranger-
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I
haven't seen it, no
When I
spoilers.
poured some more water into my cup, some people in the chat thought I was like pouring booze into it.
Okay.
Hilarious.
My throat's
Vodka.
just dry.
Anyway,
This isn't the parting shots episode, guys.
Stranger Things.
But
yeah.
go finish your thought.
Oh, just like it's a narrative device that's used quite a bit.
Yeah.
So they might not even have been like thinking that deeply about the science of it. It's just ghosts usually can interact with electricity.
Yeah. It's a good narrative device, especially when the framework for this episode is here's a scene. Now here's the scene with, as you said, commentary.
Lots of Felinda shipping
I
going
was gonna
on.
say,
Oh.
not to switch gears too much from science to interpersonal character-driven storytelling, but guys, what do you think of this? Do you guys think that's kind of what we're building up to? Because we were talking about this a little bit, and we can probably talk about it a little bit more at the end of the show, but this is entirely possible that this is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D's last season, and if it is, if it is, hopefully we get a season 5. But if it is, would they be possibly setting up Phil and May to get together at the end?
They're
Molson?
leading. Philinda.
I don't like
I think
either of
Molson-
those ship names.
Molson's beer.
I like both of them. They were very creative, and they have been increasingly going towards that direction, which is kind of weird because May used to hook up with Ward, but whatever, we'll get over that. So, it happened. Let's not act like Ward wasn't like when you didn't know he was evil, he was hot. Don't do that, okay? So no, don't.
But he's a Nazi, or he was a Nazi. He's dead now. So.
Allegedly, okay? We're not sure.
And then he was a colony of spores.
Exactly.
It would
he's
never
been
work.
many things, but I feel like there was some tension, especially this episode. Phil pleads to May more than anyone else. Like
Yeah.
his go-to is May. Like she knows him or something.
And she's what ultimately motivates him at the end to pull himself out of what is potentially the dark dimension.
True.
So that they can get that bottle together
Yeah.
from Fury.
Oh my gosh.
What was it, a bottle of Hague, is what they were saying?
A bottle of Molson's beer. That's what it was.
And the
Start
winner
their own
is
brewery. Start their own
Yeah,
brewery together.
they're very much leaning into the two of them getting together. Like they're not being subtle about
No.
it.
I'm okay
at
with it.
all. I'm at this point like I think it makes sense. It works. Like they've done the legwork for it to like connect, for these two characters to actually connect.
It does not feel forced at all.
Yeah.
I was going to say, so you guys don't think it's a disservice to either character to just put them together for the sake of putting people
No,
together?
if they'd done it like at the end of season 3, it would have felt forced.
Yeah.
But like this season, they've really done a good job showing why they would be and how they really do feel about each other.
The only issue I have with it is we've seen how the loved ones of both of these people
End up every single time.
End up like it's like I don't want them to
man.
hook up just because like I don't want May to get shot by a sniper and I don't want Phil to either become a Nazi or,
Or a
become
giant
a
monster.
giant monster that kills things.
Yeah,
Like,
with the exception of Fitzsimmons,
yeah. Love,
everyone's loved ones have been shot on this show. And maybe the cellist, but she had to go away, so
Yeah.
might as well.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's exactly not forced because there's implications in this in the rest of the Marvel Universe too. Because it looks like, so we're going to assume that everything that happens in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. happens within the realm of
yeah,
Marvel,
it's
Yeah.
canon.
right?
It's canon.
Exactly. So it is, right?
Yeah.
So if Phil and May get together, and I'm feeling like Phil's making a comeback. I don't know why.
You think he's going to be in a movie?
I think he's going to be in a, we have to see him in a movie again. Okay?
That's a tall order, man.
Yeah, we've been saying that for 3 seasons.
Listen.
They're like, just give us a wink.
Hey,
Come
hey
on, guys.
What? It's like, oh, Santa's not alive. I get it, okay? I believe. Don't take this away from me, okay? I'm just saying because I
that
want to
bastard that killed Santa has it coming to him.
See, this is what I'm talking about. So I don't know. I feel like since it's canon, Phil and May being together, this might have implications that we don't see yet.
Sure.
Like much bigger implications. Because why else introduce it now, especially if it's the last season? Why
Yeah.
introduce it?
I think maybe just like a nice closure to the two characters.
We never had that question in the beginning.
That's
Like
true.
they were just close. They've always had a close relationship that we've never questioned. So when Phil comes back, it's May and she's like kind of looking out for him on the low and protecting him without him even realizing it to the point where he thinks she's betraying him, the whole 9. So they've
Yeah.
gone through it, right? We weren't looking for them to get together. We would have been okay if they were just cool. Like, hey, they're homies.
Like,
we're
it's
good.
possible to have a TV show where a male and a female lead are just platonically friends.
Platonic
Sure.
friends that respect each other for their dedication to their job, right? But no, they're leading this somewhere. So there has to be a reason for it. Because as we've seen, there is no, in the Marvel Universe, there is no reason for something. It
to
might not come
satisfy
up.
the shippers
I
who've
don't
been
know.
sitting here for 3 years shipping it.
Hilarious.
It's not a ship anymore. It's a fleet. It's a goddamn armada.
All right, we gotta get to what like is. We gotta talk about Ghost Rider.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that happened,
Talking
right?
about a lot of character stuff there, and
So
there's,
much happened
there's
in
a
this
lot
episode.
to unpack here. There's a lot to unpack with Fitz and the grief that he's in, and like
And what
Col-
happened with Simmons?
Exactly. But yeah, let's talk about Mac becoming the new Ghost Rider.
Well,
For a second.
First, Mac sees the powers that Marrow has.
Marrow?
Morrow, sorry.
Morrow.
Eli.
I'm calling him Marrow because he has similar powers to Marrow.
Evil Uncle Eli.
Anyway,
Eli, he sees the powers that Eli has, and he's like, "We're in a nightmare now." Because Eli has basically like dark matter power. Like he's just like creating these crystals everywhere.
like
Carbon.
Hey.
They're carbon.
They're carbon,
and it's the
yeah.
basic building structure of life. And
Yeah,
I think that's
exactly.
why it's just carbon.
Yeah.
Which
And-
is super good for impaling people
yeah.
for
Apparently,
no reason.
Just spiking him in a gross way.
But something he's doing is he's creating something out of nothing, which is actually technically impossible within the scientific realm.
Sure. But if he's taking energy from other dimensions and bringing it here, then that's where he's getting his power. Like
Anybody
the magicians
seen the Full Metal Alchemist movie? The first one? Never mind. That's a nerdy reference. Anyway.
But yeah, like Mac is freaked out.
Yeah.
Like really freaked by what's going on. And we also know that Mac does not like being controlled by other things. Like has a very big issue with that.
about that.
yeah, Mac has bad luck getting possessed.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, what are you guys doing? I'm getting possessed. I'm
He's like,
back.
it's like, oh, what did you get possessed by this week? Well, this time it was a
Was it
demon.
even
The
alien force?
last
or?
time was an alien. That was a lot simpler, weirdly enough.
Here's the thing. Mac is so likable that every sort of space creature and demon just wants to be him. And that's
Hilarious.
the thing. And so
They want that shotgun axe is
They
what they
want
want.
that.
But I love what we got out of like why it latched on to him and like so like
Yeah,
his pain.
So this demon, whether it's Zarathos or not,
Yeah.
we still haven't established it. This version can jump between different riders. It just needs somebody who is either in pain or has made a deal to
Yeah.
like to bond with it. Like
That's
this desire
vengeance.
for vengeance is what keeps it like harnessed.
So
Yes.
basically, keep it out of Los Angeles because it would just have an unlimited amount of coast. Broken people, hurt people, and people who want vengeance
On
or
the
have made
boulevard
deals
of
with
broken
devils.
dreams.
Exactly.
I think this entire country is full of those people right now.
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba.
Talking about that, holy cow, the performance by Henry Simmons for this episode, who plays Mac.
Yeah.
He killed it tonight. He was absolutely amazing.
I love that when he became the demon for a second, his skull was different than Robbie Reyes'
Yeah.
skull. Like I don't know
Which
what
was different from the like maybe Johnny Blaze's skull.
Yeah,
Johnny
exactly.
Blaze? Question mark?
Yeah, because like I read like when Robbie got thrown from the car, like his skull cracked, and so we see cracks in his skull
Yeah.
when he turns to the Ghost Rider. It's so the attention to
good.
detail,
It's very cool.
so good.
This is the stuff I was talking about at the beginning of the episode. So I just saw a flaming skull, guys. I'm so sorry. Don't get upset. I know the comments are coming, But I mean, they do the way they are shaped is different. But I didn't know the crack story until I watched your last
Yeah,
episode.
it's a specific reference
Exactly.
to the style of the new Ghost Rider, which
But it still made sense.
it
like,
does in the
world.
context of the story.
I
It
just like
definitely
that Mac Mace is like, we gotta sharpen our axes, then we cut down the tree. Mac's like, my axe has a shotgun.
He's like, my axe is plenty sharp and is also a shotgun.
They're all like. He's like, boom, tree
Shoot the
down.
tree down.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he was fantastic in this. And it was it was one of those things where the way they structured this episode, it was really great to see him kind of go renegade after being the voice of reason
Yeah.
for May, and then getting the reveal that no, this isn't Mac
Yeah.
just going off and being a lone wolf. This is him being possessed again by and I didn't think that the writer without the actual person like actually choosing to pass it on, I didn't know it could just go, peace, I'm out.
Yeah, I think the writer was spooked, like that Robbie was in. what I'm going to call old-timey Western dimension. It just looked,
Sepia-tone dimension.
it just looked like they'd gone to an amusement park and were taking a picture.
Was it Limbo though?
Was it I feel like it was the Tennessee filter on
But the writer was spooked. He did not want to get dragged down to wherever they were going.
He was a step closer to whatever hell dimension it is.
Yeah.
And that was like he escaped from there, and then like this spirit of vengeance, whatever it is, escaped and latched on to and like stays in the world because of its ability to like find people who need not avenging. That's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm very angry because obviously
You don't sound angry at all, by the way. That's the happiest angry I've ever seen in my life. I'm very angry, guys.
I'm very angry at Eli because, first of all, we kind of knew, like, anybody who's read the comics knows that he's evil.
Yeah.
But here, he almost had us fooled for a little bit that, like, that he could pretend to be the good uncle for a little while, and that Robbie's trying to have this confrontation with him, and that I think he can't hear him.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things where I don't know if he really understood what he did to his nephew in that moment, and if he did understand, if he cared at all. I feel like he's beyond the point of caring, which makes me angry. You should care.
I don't think you could hear him.
Basically.
I don't think you could hear him at that time.
Probably not. But like I said, if he did know, he probably doesn't care.
But he's evil, and is this evil because of possibly the Darkhold? Like, once again, we don't know the intention of this book. Is the book the reason for his evilness? Because it's not like he's always been evil.
I don't know, man.
No, it's not like in this context, not in the comic book. In this context,
presumably he was good at some point.
Because he took responsibility, and so.
But we still have a lot to talk about. And again, Mac, he just killed it in this episode. It was so great.
I think you just have a crush on Mac. Just to
that slow zoom at the end when he's just looking at the picture and just so much torment there.
Yeah. Oh.
And also, Henry versus how tall Gabriel is, like there's a size disparity there. Mac is a very tall man. But I like the idea of them teaming up. Mac is always good for a team up, so I like where that's going next time.
Mac is the team
He's the
up
ultimate
king.
team up guy.
There's so much other stuff.
There's so much other stuff.
Should we talk about Simmons?
Let's talk about iTunes really quick first.
Okay.
Folks, thank you so much to everybody who's gotten to iTunes to rate, subscribe, leave a comment. We love you.
You know the spiel. Some shout outs to people who left us reviews. Chi-Town Los. Games, my middle name, Mr. Poop Magoo, says you guys rule. Mickey Knuckles, only Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. podcast I listen to, or to listen to. Prodigal 358, Ghost Rider, word.
Yeah, that's real. That's real.
Mad word, my friend.
S.H.I.E.L.D. intern 33.
Aw, 33.
It led, I think, ATL Word Finder. Love the podcast. Listen every week.
Why do you have the most gangster podcast listeners of all time? It's like Chi-Town Lows, ATL Killer.
And of course, of course, Phil Coulson's left hand.
Yes!
Phil Coulson's left hand. This is just the review from right before the last episode. All right, so this is an older one, but like we'll work with the hand to get these. Well, after Buzzers, last week you told me in no uncertain terms to move on. Phil's got a real sexy new left hand. Zach taunted. There are plenty of wrists in the sea. Jesse said. Maybe he could get himself a prosthetic person. Megan added. I was initially hurt by your words. How dare you be so insensitive as to imply Phil and I are not the most perfect pairing in all of existence. How dare you side with the prosthetic?
Hilarious.
But then after some ranting at support group, I saw the error of my raise. I, Phil Coulson's left hand, have officially joined a dating website. I was going to join Axe.com, the Match.com for people with Axe-related injuries.
Sure, yeah.
But ultimately decided against it. I've joined Tinder. It's easy to swipe
Actually,
left
they have
and
one
right.
called Hander, which you should go for.
If you've only got the 5 fingers. Hey, for some people, that's all you need.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Oh Lord.
All right.
What
Thank
did I
you.
join?
Thank you.
Agents
Yeah,
of S.H.I.E.L.D.
it's too late. You can't escape now.
Guys didn't.
Anyway, guys, thank you so much again. Cannot say that enough. All right, to get back, let's talk about Simmons because she got black bagged, and even Mace didn't know where she ended up.
Yeah.
I'm getting frustrated with Mace because, like, to lend like your top science agent to your rival in the government, like this woman who is just filled with hate.
But he was being blackmailed. She put him in a tough spot.
Exactly.
And the thing is that I don't know if she informed him what the situation was. But the fact is that this is her brother. This is a very personal matter. And when she chose to blackmail him, that became very personal too.
Is that is her brother?
Yeah.
Like, that's confirmed.
Senator Ellen Nader?
Nadir?
Nadir, yeah.
Nadir.
I
Ellen
think-
Nadir.
Please correct us if we're
Mace
wrong.
also had some great just a really good character moment when Mac and Daisy went out, and he was like, "I can't believe they left and disobeyed orders without a helmet."
Hilarious.
Right? Like it's like that's a really good just character moment.
That's a
for
great
him.
patriot line.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, this is a
Like-
guy who was Captain America for a while.
Yeah.
Let's not forget.
Without a helmet.
Like,
He's got a vengeance demon inside him.
Well, he didn't know it at the time.
Yeah.
And even there's this moment where Fitz is like poking him
Yeah,
with his
like getting
index finger.
angry in his face.
And it's like, that guy can like snap you in half, Fitz. Like,
You might want to back
give him
up,
some
buddy.
personal space.
Like,
Yeah, we
I
get some.
love Fitz.
if nothing else, he can fire you.
We
Like,
get,
yo.
we get some interesting cocoon information. Like they
Yeah.
can hear you and maybe even feel you
And
through the
that's-
cocoon.
And that's the unique thing about this particular situation. I just kind of thought this guy was dead or a statue, and that like for some reason the thing just hadn't crumbled yet. But no, this guy has been gestating for months, which
7
is
months,
which is longer than any other Inhuman
Yeah.
has, at least that we've seen, has ever been going through
What
the
is reason
metamorphosis.
for that? Like, other metamorphoses have taken like hours, if not minutes.
yeah.
But the other thing is that he didn't take a different shape. He still, at least as far as we could see, looked very human once she had calmed him down enough to be able to kind of start removing
Yeah.
a little bit
I
of...
mean, he could pop out with like goat legs. You know?
Yeah, we really don't know. He could be a centaur. Well, you're right.
I
he
mean,
could be a fire.
If
that
he popped
happens.
Out, if
like,
he popped out with goat legs, then there is an Inhuman that also has goat
yeah,
legs.
that was yeah.
I was like, I don't think he has goat legs, but I was thinking like Mephisto because he's a Faustian thing. I don't know. But yeah, we don't know what's going on with this guy. But I absolutely adored the way Simmons took charge.
Yeah.
She was like, you brought me here because your bosses value my expertise. Get out.
Yeah. She
Yeah,
bossed
those-
up. She definitely bossed up.
Here's a question though. With did Gemma say her name when she was talking
Yes.
to?
Yes.
She did. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I missed it at first, and I thought like his power was like psychic.
But
Nah.
they refused to tell her who he was, which makes sense if he's related to the senator that is spearheading the anti-inhuman initiatives and working with the watchdogs to actively take them down.
Yeah.
And they black bag her before he can introduce himself. They were like, "Thank you, goodbye now. Go back to S.H.I.E.L.D. You did great. You did great."
It's interesting watching her calm him down. How did she even know to take that technique?
Because his heart was beating so quickly, she was like, he's nervous, he's scared. And so that's why she was like, oh, he's aware of everything that's being
if
said and
you
going
were-
around him.
If you were frozen in place, were unable to communicate with everybody, and they put you in a tent surrounded with people like inhabited by people in hazmat suits who are like scanning you for radiation and decontaminants and just generally talking about how
After
not
7
good
months,
this
you would think
is.
you would get used to it, though. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, they
Well,
were like,
remember, prior to this, she was just keeping him in her apartment, like with the TV on.
hilarious.
Using him as a letter opener.
He's just like, all I did was take my morning vitamins,
Yeah.
and then I'm in here.
Gosh, and could you imagine being subjected to daytime TV for 7 months? Non-stop?
Yeah, we're here at AfterBuzz.
Yeah.
Daytime TV.
that's true.
Like where all the infomercials play
that's
and
true.
stuff like that. Oh, man. That's a nightmare. Do you guys have anything else to say about Fitz, or specifically Simmons in this particular, and what it means?
We should get through the rest of the episode because we've got so we can do quickly update news for the people that didn't hear.
Yeah.
We do have stuff. So the other thing I really want to touch on is the relationship between Coulson and Fitz, because they had a really great back and forth this entire episode, and we finally get a conversation where Fitz, in a moment of frustration, is like, you're the one to blame right now for all of this. Lincoln died, and we've all been trying to work on what's best for S.H.I.E.L.D. as a result.
Yeah.
And this is where we are now. This is not a good situation.
And Coulson very easily, like, this reminded me a lot of the beginning when Daisy made a lot of good points where it's like, we're on S.H.I.E.L.D., a lot of crazy stuff happens. Dead is not dead to us. Like, and they're like, we have to accept that she's dead. And she's like, that they're dead. And she was like, Coulson was dead before and he's back. But like, this was another thing where he was like, I was the leader of an illegal spy operation that was using powered individuals to fight other powered individuals. I had to step down in order for you guys to do what you're doing right now.
Yeah,
I was like, just way to logic him out of his anger. Like,
it was sort of the deal. Like, it's more clear like why he had to do it. It was not like, oh well, I'll step down because it's the right thing to do. It was, I'm stepping down or I'm going to jail.
yeah.
Which I think was basically the situation that he got put in.
I think it was like, I'm stepping down or all of us are going to jail.
Yeah.
It looked like it was going to be bad for everyone. And Fitz was a little passive aggressive. Did no one else feel that? Like,
Well, he was worried about what happened to Gemma, so
Yeah.
of course.
Sure.
And
after he
he's
overheard.
trapped in another dimension. Things are rough at the moment.
It's okay to be a little bit of a jerk when you're trapped in another
You're
dimension.
just, I mean, I get a little snippy if I haven't had a cup of coffee all day.
Hilarious.
Yeah, what I'm excited to see is like he didn't say it in the moment, but you know it's coming when he confronts the director about like his dealings with Senator Nadir, who is very much the adversary of S.H.I.E.L.D. There's no way Fitz is just gonna like keep that to himself because Gemma came back.
Yeah, exactly.
And when
Yeah,
Gemma finds out, like she's gonna have her own thing to deal with now
Yeah.
that she knows like what she'll
And-
be able to piece those things
And again,
together.
we have no idea what this guy's power is going to be or when it could be triggered. Literally, the senator could be in the middle of a press conference when all of a sudden a mushroom cloud goes off in the middle of the city where
after
her
7
brother was
months,
at.
it has to be amazing. Listen, if it's like something real simple, like he's paper cut man, I'll be very upset. Like 7 months, like they've been building this one up.
Yeah.
So he has to do something fantastic.
Pretty incredible.
And
Yeah.
we're waiting.
Should we do
Yeah, let's go ahead and dive into news and gossip
real quick?
really quick.
Most of you guys have heard about this by now, but in case you haven't, Marvel and ABC Studios announced an unprecedented story. Like movie project, TV project, I don't know what you want to call it.
Yeah.
The Inhumans is coming not only to theaters but to ABC.
Yeah.
So in September 2017, because they said I think it's going to premiere on Labor Day, you will be able to go to your local IMAX theater to see in the first 2 episodes of the Inhumans, which is going to be the royal family.
Yeah.
Now they have stated that it's not a spin-off of S.H.I.E.L.D., which was interesting, but it's going to focus on the royal family. Black Bolt is confirmed. His brother Maximus is confirmed. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
But like Medusa and
Gotta
like
be
probably
there.
some of the cousins that are around them are going to be there. But
Gorgon gotta be there.
yeah, I mean you hope, but like we don't know. No one knows exactly how it's going to be. But this is coming, and then once those 2 episodes air, the next 6, it's going to be an 8-episode series. All of those episodes will air on ABC. The first 2 episodes are being financed by IMAX. They will be shot entirely on IMAX cameras.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is gonna be a crazy series.
That's incredibly exciting.
If you want to hear more about it, check out Marvel Movie News from 2 weeks ago, and then you can also check out Sci-Fi Weekly with Jesse, Klein, and I, where we gave our breakdowns of who we would cast in all
Zach had
our
some
major
very interesting
roles.
casts. I'll say that.
So
Like
check
some
that
really
out
good ones.
on our sister network, Popcorn Talk.
Yep.
And one other thing, the new Ghost Rider series comes out tomorrow,
That's
guys.
right.
So for those of you who missed the first run of the series, now is your chance to jump in and really get to know Robbie and the rest of the cast. It's really great. So yeah, let's go ahead and do some rapid fire predictions.
Your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Ada, we saw at the end, she's creating a brain. She's going to create her own, like, artificial life, but it's going to be biological.
This is the singularity. It's
Yeah.
where the computer creates a computer that's smarter than itself, and that computer creates a
I
computer
don't think
that's
she's going
smarter
to
than
create a
itself.
computer. I think she's going to create a biological thing. Because that was like a full brain and
looked
stuff.
like a brain.
Scarecrow.
I create life.
Yeah, totally. I'm on board. I want to see it. I think once the Nadir thing gets out, Mace is going to find himself in a real tricky situation, and like all of S.H.I.E.L.D's going to sort of like come to a head in the sense of the Inhumans, and we're going to have like a big like fallout with the government and everything.
Yeah.
And the hunting down of Inhumans is going to be scarily similar to real life in a way that I didn't think it was going to have to be.
Yeah.
I think Robbie and his uncle are going to have a reckoning, and it's going to be a big deal. And then that the Ghost Rider spirit will not, like, they had a bargain. I think he's going to not follow through on this bargain.
He's going to go back
He's
on
going to
it.
renege on it.
I actually think the opposite. I think the next episode is the last one we'll get with Robbie for a while, maybe even altogether, because it's his last stand and it's his last score to settle. So after that, presumably he's going to have to go off to wherever the rider wants him to go in order to collect the souls that, he's seeking vengeance on. So I can definitely see the Eli stuff being resolved and wrapped up. Robbie riding off into the sunset with or without Gabe. I mean, Gabe, this episode did say he wanted Robbie to go off and figure his own life out. So I could definitely see Robbie going off into the sunset for a little while until they need him, probably in the series finale, season
Bring him
finale.
back.
Yeah.
I hope they bring him back. And then the rest of this season will be focusing on the Darkhold and the life model decoy stuff. So that's my thoughts on the matter.
Winter finale next week, guys.
Oh, we just came back. I want another break.
One more episode, and then long break for the holidays. We don't know exactly how long because there's no Agent Carter this year to fill the gap, but we'll see.
We shall see, indeed. Any final thoughts on this week's episode or predictions for the next week?
Nope, good.
I just want to say we didn't touch on her very much, but I absolutely love Daisy in this episode.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah.
Can we just call her
Top-notch.
Sky forever, though?
No.
No, she's
Guys.
Daisy. She wants to be Daisy.
Skyjar.
She said, "Call me Daisy." We're calling her Daisy.
Who listens to her?
Clearly not as many people because she was the one saying, "Hey guys, this isn't the end." So yes, that just about does it for tonight's episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Zach, where can people go if they want to find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter at that Zach Wilson. That's Zach with a CH. Check out today on Screen Junkies TV Fights.
Woo!
I entered the ring and came out victorious.
Good for you. Good for you.
And I went wearing my Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. badge too. Yeah, check it out. It was a blast. It was a fun one. So check it out on Screen Junkies.
Tehran?
I am Tehran because I am Tehran all across the board. So I think, therefore, I am Tehran. Find me.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at JessKlein1. That's JessKlein, the number 1. On Sundays at 4 o'clock, Zach and I do Sci-Fi Weekly. We just finished our Things We're Thankful For Sci-Fi show, and we've got a new one coming up this Sunday. Tomorrow, you can see me on Jash Play. I'm going to be doing the Poke Your Mom show. Okay. I'm going to be playing Pokemon with a friend of mine, Maggie Mayfish. And you can see me doing comedy at the Packed Theater every third Wednesday of every month with my sketch team, Haymaker.
Nifty. That sounds awesome. I'm Megan. You guys can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at @TheMenguin. That's TheMenguin. I am also on a bunch of shows here at AfterBuzz, and I write articles for The Movie Chick. That's Chick with 2 Ks. Be sure to check those out. Again, thank you to everybody in live chat, everybody in the hashtag. We love you guys. Don't forget to comment on iTunes. You'll get a shout out on the show. Thank you guys so much for watching. We will see you all next time.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.